For background information, my husband, 34 male, makes quite a lot of money and can afford to pay for other people's expenses, such as college funds and certain debts. We've also been struggling with infertility, and we are currently going through IVF and has had miscarriages in the past. We have a 5-year-old daughter who is our miracle baby. We told our family we were going through IVF, and they mostly supportive of us. We had constantly been testing, but it was coming back negative and beta day was coming up soon. We decided not to tell our family at the monthly family gathering and wait for beta results. My niece has given me a pregnancy test and said she was very excited for me to get pregnant with my rainbow baby. I went to the bathroom and took the test. It came back positive. I got very emotional and called my husband. We both started to cry and was about to announce to the family. At this point, my niece was hysterical with laughter and said, "Did you really think you were pregnant with a rainbow baby? It was just a prank." It really hurt me how ignorant she was being and dismissive about my own feeling and mental health. I shouted at her, yelling, "Why would she do that?" In response, she said, "It was just a lighthearted joke and I shouldn't even be upset." In that moment, I was very upset and left the family gathering without saying a word. I later texted her mom, saying I no longer wish to fund for my niece's college and her car. Obviously, I left with no explanation, and the whole family turned on me at first, as I shouldn't ruin someone's future. I then explained what happened, and her parents punished her by taking her card away for a long period of time. I've decided to cut her from my family, and I no longer speak to her. Not the a-hole. That is a disgusting prank, and not funny whatsoever. The "did you really think you were pregnant" is horrible, and it's awful to prank someone in such a way. Even if you weren't infertile, that's still a sick prank to do to someone. Sounds to me like you call up any family member attacking you, including this brat of a child, and laugh hysterically. "Did you really think I was going to pay for your college and buy you a car? It was just a prank telling you that." And of course, in the most innocent baby girl tee-hee voice you can muster, "It was just a lighthearted joke. I don't know why you're so upset over it." Not the a-hole. That was an extremely cruel thing to do, and in no way can you call that a prank. A prank is something silly where both sides wind up laughing. Let's call this what it is. Mean-spirited. No reasonable person can blame you for what you did. As far as the family saying you were destroying her future, what you and your husband were doing was a gift, doing out of the kindness of your hearts, and she repaid you with cruelty. She, nor anyone else in the family, was entitled to your husband's generosity. If she was so dependent on it that losing it would destroy her life, then she should have thought of that before playing her prank. Where there is support, there is control. Do not give in to the family peer pressure. This is a lesson she needs to learn. It may be a hard lesson, but the punishment fits the crime. There is nothing lighthearted about that. It was mean and cruel, and the fact that the rest of the family laughed is disturbing as well. She is a careless and clueless girl, and hopefully now she has learned to not do something so stupid. Good for you for cutting off contact. I, 19 female, got kicked out of my dad's house 3 months ago because his girlfriend gave him an ultimatum, saying if I wasn't kicked out, she wouldn't marry him. We had some rough patches, but his girlfriend said she couldn't take my attitude, and my dad obviously picked her because he didn't want to leave her or her 3 kids, 13, 15, 18, or the house or the dog, and if I was younger, he would have picked me over them. His exact words. Every year my dad's side of the family has a giant golfing tournament for Father's Day, and my grandpa told me he still wants me there, and I look forward to the tourney every year. I'm a big golfer. No one but my immediate family knows I've been kicked out, and why I've been kicked out. But I know the conversation about the wedding will come up because it's in 2 months. My mom says I shouldn't bring it up, and to lie about me being excited and going to the wedding, and they can make an excuse on why I'm not there the day of, to not start drama. But I don't find that fair. My dad's girlfriend calls this, and I feel my entire family deserves to know why I'm not going to the wedding. It's not fair she gets to kick me out and act as if nothing's wrong, and I want people to know the truth, and I don't care if they break up because of me anymore. So, would that make me an a-hole? Edit. I do have an attitude problem, and haven't got along with my dad's girlfriend after I flunked out of college, and started working full-time to afford a new program. I was also extra cranky the day before the girlfriend gave the ultimatum, because I was switching hormonal meds for my endometriosis. I'm not blaming my meds for my attitude, but they didn't help. I was on some rough stuff, giving me a bad time, and a legit 3-month period. Edit 2. The relationship between the girlfriend's kids always felt like they were more important than me. For example, I did cooking in grade 10, and got scolded for wasting a course. They made fun of me for years about it, calling it applied cooking, and saying it was stupid. Until the girlfriend's daughter took it, and she was met with praise. Also, guys, please, this is about if I should or shouldn't tell my family, not you believe I deserve to be kicked out. Not the a-hole. Just be straight up honest and explain why you're not going to the wedding. There's no reason for you to cover up their lies. You should insert as little drama as you possibly can, though. That way you appear less vindictive and come out looking like the bigger person. Not the a-hole. He can stomach kicking out his child who he raised for 19 years for a girlfriend, and I assume incoming stepchildren. Then he can stomach explaining this decision to his and your biological family. Not the a-hole. Don't lie. You are under no obligation to make your dad or his girlfriend look good. They are the a-holes through and through. Yes, it will cause some strife in the golf day, but it will also enable you to easily identify by whose side they take any other a-holes. Honestly, I think I need more context. Your attitude may seem reasonable to you, but end up really being out of line. So I would need to know what in particular is she upset about your attitude. On the surface, I would say partially the a-hole. You can let your family know she pushed you out of your living situation without it going too far. If she's in the wrong, she should be called out for it for sure. I'm also really curious as to why your mom is so passive on all this. I'm a pacifist, so I avoid drama if I can. But is she okay with the situation, or does she just not want to be involved? Or is she just the type to let herself and those around her be walked all over? Her response is also kind of concerning. My attitude is my dad and I fighting over food usually, because we can only eat the food his girlfriend likes, and I get in trouble if I make my own. And my mom just doesn't want me to cause any more drama because she can't handle the thought of my dad yelling at her about how I caused all this drama, if that makes sense. So I, 21 female, graduated college in December and moved back in with my mom to start job hunting. My sister Amy, 26 female, has also been living here, along with her 3 kids, 4 female, 3 female, 1 male, since September rent-free, because her husband of 3 years, Steve, 30 male, filed for divorce. He kicked her out after finding out she cheated on him with an ex, and Amy took the kids with her. Before this, she was a stay-at-home mom and hadn't worked since her first kid was born. They're not officially divorced yet. Viber stopped my job hunt, so I'm an Uber Eats driver right now. Amy spends her days going woe is me and complaining about Steve. The kids definitely miss their dad and only see him on the weekends when he's not working. Mom's always been a pushover when it comes to her grandkids and Amy, and doesn't push her to find a job or pay for anything. A month ago, my boyfriend, 25 male, sent me an anniversary gift. We're quarantining apart. It was an eyeshadow palette I'd looked at a few months before, but decided not to get it because it was pricey. My boyfriend remembered the name of it and bought it for me. I went to work last week and put on some of the shadow and left it on my side of the sink. Amy and I share a bathroom. When I came home, I went to take a shower and saw my palette was moved. It was in the drawer, not on the sink. I opened it and saw that it was ruined. 2 colors were scratched out, and 3 were smeared and dented. I figured my nieces had been playing with it. I went to my sister and confronted her, and asked why she hid it. She denied hiding the palette, but wanted it out of sight of my nieces after they'd gotten into it. She told me I should be more careful with my things with kids in the house. I blew up and told her she should learn to watch her kids if she's gonna just sit around all day. She told me not to lecture her on raising her own kids, and I said she was doing a pretty crap job so far. She got really offended and said I was selfish and materialistic, and I could just get another palette. I told her at least I'm not a lazy mooch and stopped talking to her. Since then, my mom told me I was out of line and that I should apologize, since I don't know how hard it is to raise children, especially during a divorce. I refused, and have since moved in with my boyfriend, about 45 minutes away from my mom and sister. My mom thinks this is childish. I'm not mad at my nieces, by the way, just Amy. Am I the a-hole? Everyone sucks here. Put your stuff away. Your sister should watch your kids better. Everyone sucks here. Your sister should replace the stuff her kids ruined. You were living with little kids and should be keeping anything of value out of their grasps. You are being an absolute a-hole toward your sister, judging her for being a stay-at-home mom. In case you were unaware, it usually isn't cost-effective to pay for someone to watch 3 little kids. It could even cost more than her take-home pay. That doesn't mean she's lazy or a mooch. She's going through some serious stuff that you cannot possibly contemplate. Even if you think she did it to herself, divorce is ducking hard. You might try having some compassion. That said, depending on where she is, she could move back to the marital home with the kids, and her husband can leave. In my state, nobody can deny someone access to the marital home, unless you have a restraining order. Not the a-hole. Your sister is an a-hole altogether. I don't feel sorry for her one bit. Imagine being dumb enough to put yourself in a position where you're financially dependent on a man, and then cheating. Your mother is enabling her. Not the a-hole. It happens. I've lived with little kids before, and even if you are the most attentive parent, the kids will find a way to destroy something when you're in the bathroom, doing chores, etc. Not their fault unless they're already way older and know better. However, your sister hiding the pallet and just waiting for you to discover it, and when discovered, not even offering an apology or a replacement makes her a massive a-hole. About 18 months ago, my father passed away, and I inherited my childhood home. It was my father's retirement home in a certain Latin American country, where he also raised me as a single father. With the onset of his illness roughly 4 years ago, I brought him back to the U.S. to care for him in his final days while simultaneously working to provide for my now 5-year-old son. With my father's consent at that time, my son and his mother, grandparents, and great-grandparents were allowed to stay in the home rent-free. My son's mother and her family are foreigners there, and even though we paid to get them their immigration papers, they are not able to work legally and do not have the income to pay for their own housing. Since my father passed and the full cost of the property's maintenance, fees, insurance, and taxes has fallen on me, I've made clear to them that I will either have to rent the house out or sell it. Plus the child support I send monthly, and the car I got for them 2 years ago. I don't have much left over after all is said and done. I simply cannot continue to assume the financial weight of the entire family myself. They've made it clear to me, however, that they are not leaving the house. With every attempt I've made at selling, renting, they've refused to leave, and also refused to negotiate in any way. At this point, it's as though they have assumed ownership over the house, without having to actually pay for it. My lawyers made it clear that I have the legal discretion to proceed with an eviction. My lawyers provided written notice with an offer to pay for the housing of my child and his mother, to which they have rejected. Flat out ignored, actually. I'm out of peaceful options. He has also made it very clear that if I fail to act, the law in that country will allow for the family members to lay claim to the property after a period of 10 years occupying it. Would I be the a-hole for pursuing eviction proceedings? Not the a-hole. Dude, your lawyer told you what you need to do. You pay a lawyer for a job, so let him do his job. You do not have to talk to them through the process. In fact, I recommend that you do not, and all communication from here on out should be through your lawyer. You've done more than enough for them, and while it sucks that your son is kind of in the middle, no one is going to pay for this home or be on the hook for the costs except you. And then, when it falls into despair, assuming they make the 10 years and you have not kicked them out yet, so they legally have claim, they will be in another situation where your son will basically become currency for you to bail them out of their troubles. Bottom line, do what your lawyer suggested, and go low contact, no contact to the extent legalities allow. Child custody, support, etc. When the dust settles, decide at that point whether you want to resume contact or how you want to proceed. Nope, you are absolutely not the a-hole. Your child's mother and her family are all the a-holes. You were beyond nice to let them reside in the home rent-free. Trust and believe that they have done their own research, and know that legally they will become the de facto owners of the property in just a few years. You were kind, and unfortunately, many people assume that kindness is a form of weakness. They are banking on you being too weak to follow through, and also you being too kind-hearted to evict the mother of your child. Proceed with the eviction proceedings, and find out from your attorney when you can legally have the locks on the home changed. I would also ask the attorney if you can legally have the car towed. Not the a-hole. One man working almost any job in the world, unless you own like Amazon or Apple, cannot afford to support 4 generations of people. The grand and great-grandparents will probably need, if not already require, healthcare, so there's that. And everything else is an insane amount of money. Listen to your lawyer and get them out before it's too late. So, I've got 2 nieces currently in a private elementary school. I've been paying for their school tuition since they started school, roughly a few $1,000s a year, because I'm a single woman without kids or dependents, and I'm happy to support them. My younger sister, their mom, has been happy to let me pay because their public school district is fairly bad. Anyways, the kids will be moving into middle school next year, which means tuition will increase by half, then another half by the time they're in high school. My sister now wants me to wire that tuition money directly into her accounts, so that she can pay the school herself. I don't feel comfortable with this, because I'm currently paying the school through a special portal that lets non-parents, guardians, pay tuition directly to the school, and we get individual confirmation on where the money goes. It's secure, easy, and transparent for my own financial records too. I love my sister, but she has been destructively financially irresponsible in the past, and the large sum that will be their tuitions in middle, high school is a lot to transfer to one person at a time. Also, she recently started dating a somewhat sketchy man who heavily pushes her to demand this from me. So I'm just paranoid as heck, but I'm not sure if I'm overreacting. So now we're fighting over this, because I said I'd prefer to keep using the portal, and my sister thinks I'm insulting her rights as a mother to oversee her kids' finances. I'm feeling deeply conflicted on how I should approach this. Sure, it's my money, but it's also her kids. Am I the a-hole if I refuse to wire her money directly instead of opting to pay the schools myself? It's caused a big rift, and I'm trying to respect everyone's boundaries at the same time. Not the a-hole. There is zero reason for her to get the money directly. She should be thankful that someone is covering it for her. Also, unless her new man plans on paying part of it, then he shouldn't have an opinion at all. If she wants to pull the parental right card, then she can go ahead and start paying for it herself. Not the a-hole. It's concerning that she would suddenly want to change. I'd offer to continue paying only if she's willing to go through the portal. Because after that point, you can't exactly prove what she's using the money on. Not to mention, if she wants the right to oversee finances, she can pay herself. Once the amount you're paying per year is higher, you could also potentially run into a situation where gift taxes erode if you pay the money directly to your sister. Something that is avoided by paying the money directly to the school, and likely one of the reasons they have a portal for payments from other people. Not the a-hole, and her request is super shady.